Welcome to the Windows and Computer channel, and this is the Tech News Update. We are Friday, August 3rd, 2018, and on this Friday, August the 3rd, we have Amazon that is actually apparently working on what is a patent that might actually change a little bit the way that translations are actually happening. So as you know, translations are getting better and better. One of the problems with translations is actually understanding how to pronounce different words. And I am one of those that sometimes need to know how you pronounce a certain word in English, for example. So they actually filed a patent that will focus on the pronunciation of translated words, which is kind of interesting. And from what I know, one of the only ones that is actually focusing on that right now. So this is going to be interesting to see if it helps make translations better. Well, it finally happened. The first company to reach $1 trillion, that's $1,000 billion in value, Apple, and of course it was pretty much assured that Apple would be the first one to actually attain this status. And you know, it's just a symbolic number, but it's a number, and it's a big number. Of course, not very far behind, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, all in the 800 to 900 billion range. So I guess they will be the next ones to get high values. Patreon seems to have had some big problems. Now, I have a Patreon account, and I can tell you that I did not have any problems, but a high number of creators that live through donations through Patreon is actually having their July payments held because they basically have their accounts or their payments that are apparently fraudulent, which is not the case. It's kind of a error or a problem that's happening, and it apparently happens to a pretty big chunk of users. So this is kind of interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens to this. But you know, this is a big problem because a lot of people that are on Patreon actually, it's their income, it's their paycheck, and if that happens, it's kind of a huge issue. Well, tablet sales that were already down year to year, and yes, I do see that this tablet is very wide. I've been declining, of course, steadily for years. They kind of reach a peak at some point, but people seem to just not like the tablet form factor that much. Well, they dropped the biggest drop ever, 13% drop in sales year over year. This is crazy, and it shows that people are kind of fed up of tablet. But what's interesting, if you look on who are the winners, are there anybody out there that actually have sales that are growing on their tablets? Yep. Apple has almost 1% growth on its iPads, and Huawei, Android tablets, plus 7%. I guess these two companies might be happy. Well, one of the things that is happening, Facebook has added these features, and Google Maps will add these features. You know, when something happens in an area, a country, or you know, just a catastrophe happens somewhere, one of the things that is nice to know is if the other person is okay. Of course, Facebook has a way of having you log in and say to your friends, "Hey, I'm okay. Don't worry about it." But Google is adding, because you can share information about your location with Google Maps. You can actually tell the others where you are. Well, now it will also show battery life information. That means if you don't get any information about somebody at some point, and he tells you he's okay, but he only has, say, 10% battery life left, well, you'll see it, which means instead of going crazy and saying, well, is he okay, you'll be just saying, oh, he's out of battery, so I guess he's going to charge and then come back at some point. Well, it seems that Google might announce in a launch, maybe, Android P on August 20th. Of course, we're waiting for the official name of Android P. One of the biggest features that Google actually really talked a lot about yesterday was battery life. what they want with Android P is to really have a major milestone in extending the battery life of devices that will run it. This could be nice if it is. You know, every Android version they always talk about battery life, and every Android version you're like, I don't see any difference. Let's hope that this time around there will be one. Well, Gmail and Google are saying that if you're a business user, get a business email with them, because one of the interesting parts of this is simply that they are actually going to monitor your email all the time and tell you if there's hacking possibilities, if there's governments that are trying to get access to your email and so on. And they say that it's the most secure way of getting email. Well, Microsoft will have a big showing at the Black Hat Security Conference in Las Vegas. This starts August 4th, tomorrow, and runs through August the 8th. This conference is for professionals and deals with security, cybersecurity, and well, it's one of those conferences where everybody knows you just don't connect to the local Wi-Fi because you're almost certain to actually get hacked somehow. So Microsoft, of course, participating in there because they also are a big part of security and cybersecurity, and they want to just let everybody know that they are there. Microsoft, of course, has released the Surface Go. These is the new Surface lower-priced devices. That is a kind of a tablet slash PC, and of course with a very small 10-inch screen. And the reviews coming in are kind of mixed. One of the best reviews I've seen seems to say that it is a nice device for somebody that wants something small and powerful enough to do work. Yeah, okay, but it's far from being very powerful, especially compared to Surface Pro tablets. A patent that has shown up from Apple seems to show that maybe in the future its MacBook line of PCs might actually have a virtual keyboard rather than a physical keyboard. And it's funny because with all the keyboard problems that Apple is having lately, you're kind of wondering, yeah, okay, this might actually be a good idea to have a keyboard that doesn't have any physical access, just to make things a little better. The other thing, I don't know if I would like to type on a virtual keyboard. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see. A new rule that is, one of the rare new good things that happens sometimes with the FCC and Agit Pi is that a rule called the One Touch Make Ready Act will enable new ISPs that come into an area to actually have physical access to the utility poles for wiring and cabling, and be able to move other competition's cables without having the other competition say, hey, we're going to move our cables ourselves. Of course, ISPs, the main ISPs in the United States like Comcast, is going crazy over this, saying, well, they shouldn't do that, and it's going to create, problems. But the problem is, one of the reasons, for example, that Google Fiber has slowed down in deployment is simply that, yeah, they're not getting access to the utility poles, and it's kind of a competition thing. ISPs don't want to have other internet service providers in there, so that's why there's such a problem. And this was the Tech News Update for August 3rd, 2018. You enjoy our videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.